All right, good evening, Jets, Jets. This is Jedi Nights. I'm your host, Chris Wiles. I will be coming to you once a week to give you information on what's going on with the New York Jets and what it feels like to be a fan these days. You might be thinking to yourself, what do I have to offer that other Jet fans don't? Well, I'll tell you, I'm a 49-year-old man. I've been pulling for the New York Jets since I was 8 years old. Why, you might ask, I chose the New York Jets? Well, my dad was a Dolphin fan. I went the other way. When I was 8, I asked my father, who was a diehard Miami Dolphin fan, who do the Miami Dolphins hate the most? And he said the New York Jets. And I looked him square in the eyes at 8 years old and said, I like the New York Jets. And then he knocked me out. No, my father was a great man, good man. We never got to go to a game together, come to think of it, but that's a whole other segment, I guess, about fathers not taking their sons to games. Anyhow, I have also started a bucket list some 15 years ago, trying to see the Jets play on the road against every team in the NFL. I currently have 2 teams remaining. One is Dallas, which hopefully I'll be able to see them play in Dallas in 2023. And the other stadium is Seattle. Hopefully, they'll be letting fans in the sand in Seattle come December. So that's what we're looking for. My wife and I have also done an annual trip for 16 straight years, being at the very first game of the season for the New York Jets, no matter where they play. This was the first year, of course, that we weren't able to do that. So instead, I had DirecTV hooked up into my house and was able to watch the Jets debacle against the Bills. So those are some of my credentials. I've been through a lot of the New York Jets years. I've been rooting for them and cheering for them, and have been a part of this fan base for some time now. Some 41 years I've been a New York Jet fan. So that's what I have to bring to the table. On top of that, I'm a professional stand-up comedian. So hopefully throughout this podcast, I'll be able to bring you not only some insight on the Jets, my personal feelings on the Jets, but maybe also be able to add a little humor into the New York Jets. So let's kick this episode off with, I guess, the telling news. The big news in Jets football today is last night, the New York Jets released another disgruntled player in Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell signed a multi-million-dollar contract. His production dropped so far that we weren't able to even get a 7th-round draft pick. I think we even tried to trade for a ball boy, and that didn't happen. I think we asked for 2 cheeseburgers and a large Coke from McDonald's for Le'Veon Bell, and that was also denied. So it tells you either A, Le'Veon Bell has lost a step and is just not capable of doing it, or B, the Jets have ruined a great running back. I'm not sure which one it is. I do know that the contract was horrid. The fact that we paid him $1.6 million per game. That's right, Le'Veon Bell played for just 17 games and collected $28 million for 17 games. Personally, I think a ball boy for about $20,000 a year might be a better pickup than Le'Veon Bell for $1.6 million and his putrid yards per carry. Not happy about it. It's another player that throughout the years, I have gone and picked up many a jersey for my team. And this is another jersey that's just going to get hung in the closet. I can't even begin to tell you how many jerseys I have. I'm going to show you some tonight to give you an example of, the players that the Jets have had and the players that they have let go. So to show you first, we've got Le'Veon Bell right here. Number 26 in your playbook, number 2 in the toilet. Yep, this is a brand new, the new Gotham green jersey of Le'Veon Bell, number 26. These are $129 on NFLshop.com. I expect that price to go down a little bit. But Le'Veon Bell, this jersey can now be used to wash my truck. So, yeah. But let me just give you an example of some of the jerseys I've bought throughout the years. You remember this guy, Pryor? Yeah, you remember that guy, Pryor? strong safety. His nickname was the Hammer, and I believe that's what he's doing now. I believe he's doing construction with hammer and nails because he was awful. First round draft pick, worthless. Again, another $125 down the drain. Now, this guy actually had a decent year with us, but again, it's the Jets spending money on players that don't have a, that won't be able to contribute long term. Brandon Marshall, number 15, had one of the most prolific years of his career and one of the most prolific careers in wide receiver history when he teamed up with Eric Decker. And speaking of Eric Decker, I believe I have his jersey in here somewhere as well. Yes, yep, look at that. Eric Decker. A big time, money spent, didn't work, gone. Just so many players that we have either drafted or traded away or whatever. We all know this guy. He's now playing for the New York Giants, although I do think that was a legitimately good trade. Gone. Another $125. Chris Ivory gave us, basically 2 good years, and it was over. Ivory, he's in the toilet. Hey, remember this guy? Had a first-round pick out of the University of North Carolina, which is where I'm from. I'm from North Carolina, by the way. I haven't told you that. Quentin Coples. Yeah, gone. Worthless. These daggone jerseys that I've got, you remember this guy? Mark Sanchez. Now, personally, I liked Mark Sanchez. He's got the most wins of any quarterback in Jet history in the playoffs with 4. I thought the Jets were on their way of doing something good with Sanchez, and then they brought in this debacle, Tim Tebow. Yes, another one, worthless. The amount of guys that we have. Now, I do have a couple of jerseys of some guys that actually panned out. Chad Pennington, one of my favorite quarterbacks to ever play for the New York Jets. Yep. Twice comeback player of the year, once for the New York Jets and once for the Miami Dolphins. I thought we cut him loose a little too early, but that's the way football goes. Chad Pennington, probably one of my favorite jerseys I have. My actual favorite jersey is a gamer that there's no Jet fan around that would deny was worth a darn, and that is number 80, Wayne Chrebet. Wayne Chrebet, awesome over the middle, slot receiver, would take a hit, and basically was taking a hit right up until his daughter was born, and then he was done. He was like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I want to know who I am when I'm 41 years old. My wife and I actually got a chance to meet Wayne Chrebet last year at the opening game of the season. Very nice guy. Got a couple of autographs. At the time, I didn't have this jersey with me, so I wasn't able to get his autograph, so a little disappointed in that. But anyhow, Chad Pennington, gamer. My favorite, I wouldn't say my favorite, but I just like it because it's so retro. But my Boomer Esiason jersey. This is a really cool jersey right here. I liked Boomer. Again, another player that we picked up late in his career. He did his best, but again, the story of the Jets, back then and what's going on today is no real offensive line. Offensive line has been kind of our problem through most of the history of the New York Jets. Ken O'Brien never had an offensive line. Although he had mad weapons, he did not have an offensive line, which is one of the reasons why I believe he's the most sacked quarterback in New York Jet history. So right now, the only jersey, and by the way, I couldn't find today. I have a Brett Favre jersey. Couldn't find it for this episode. I also have a Jamal Adams jersey, which we traded him away, and we'll talk more about Jamal in this segment. But right now, the only jersey I have of a player that is on the New York Jets, and this might even be his last year because we have no idea what the Jets are doing. Although I've got an idea of what's going on, and we'll talk more about that as well. But Sam Darnold, that's it, Sam Darnold, who they could be ruining him with his offensive career by basically not giving him any weapons. But, so let's talk a little bit more about Le'Veon Bell. Again, $1.6 million per game is what he received as a member of the New York Jets. He is gone, and there's, some talk on, some possible landing sites with him. I've seen on ESPN.com the Chicago Bears, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns, San Francisco, Tennessee Titans, Seattle Seahawks, Miami Dolphins, Arizona Cardinals. And what's funny about that list is the team that I think he's going to end up on is not on this list. I believe Le'Veon Bell will be a New England Patriot by 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. I think it's the best fit for him. Bill Belichick has a history of buying low and selling high, and Le'Veon Bell is a great one to take a flyer on for a few $1 million, because heck, we're basically paying him this year. He's going to get paid from us, and then whatever the other teams pay him is what the Jets won't have to pay. So I truly believe it's going to be the New England Patriots. There's an outside shout that the Miami Dolphins might actually pick him up. But time will tell for that. But so Le'Veon Bell is gone. Regardless of how you feel about it, he wasn't productive. It was a crappy contract. And no, I don't believe he was used properly. But it's hard to use a player like Le'Veon Bell that has such a patient running style. It's hard to use him correctly with the offensive line woes that we've had. Now, let's dive into a couple of things. One of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast is I'm a member of quite a few fan pages of the New York Jets on Facebook, and I've been constantly reading people's comments, and there's just things about the New York Jets that people say that just blow me away, and I just don't get it. So I'm going to go through some of those, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the future of the New York Jets franchise. So one of the highest comments or posts I see on these NFL New York Jet fan pages on Facebook is bring Rex Ryan back. Bring Rex Ryan back. Listen, Rex Ryan is never going to coach for the New York Jets. So just stop it. Stop it. I understand. You're like, hey, I want Rex Ryan. I want Rex Ryan. Well, my daughter wants a unicorn. Sounds magical, but never going to happen. Rex Ryan was giving one of the best rosters, if not the best roster in New York Jet history. He got us to 2 AFC championship games, and then the bill came due. People that don't like, a lot of people right now are really down on the owners of the Jets, and I get it. I get it. They're not football guys. They are not football guys. I think they brought in a football guy in Obi-Wan Kenobi, a.k.a. Joe Douglas. But they are not football guys. And right now, Chris Johnson, he's not even the original owner of the New York Jets. His brother, Woody, is over drinking tea with the British right now. So Chris Johnson has stepped in and is trying to run this team. At that time, keep in mind, Woody Johnson owned the New York Jets when we had Mike Tannenbaum as the GM and Rex Ryan as head coach. And Mike Tannenbaum, using part of the roster that Mangini had helped cultivate, built on that, spent money, and built us not only an offense, but a defense that was scary, was hard to reckon with. Bart Scott, Darrelle Revis, these guys, marquee names, and to this day, when you say those names, you know they're Hall of Fame players. They should be. I don't think Bart's gotten in yet. But, Rex Ryan had his shot. It's not going to happen. Rex Ryan is not ever going to be a part of this team, ever. So just stop it. Another thing is Adam Gase. People do not like Adam Gase, and they've been clamoring him to be fired since day one. Everybody was like, let's bring in Mike McCarthy. Let's bring in Mike McCarthy. Well, that's working out. The Dallas Cowboys are 1-5 right now. I'm sorry, 1-4 right now. And their only win is a luck onside kick recovery. The offense looks great. There's no D in Dallas. It's not happening. So Adam Gase is going to be here, and he's not even going to get fired at the end of this year, and I'll tell you why. Because he's on contract for another year. Joe Douglas was brought in to run and manage this football team. He was brought in last year after free agency and after the draft. An asinine move by our owners of our beloved New York Jets, but still, at least they did something. They recognized the fact that Maccagnan was not the answer and they needed to do something. So they brought in Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas marks the beginning of a new franchise, a new business. Anyone that's ever cultivated their own business knows that it takes 3 to 4 years to build your business. Now, are we tired as New York Jet fans watching this team lose and not be competitive? Absolutely, and we should be. It's crappy. It sucks. You know, you go to Jet games on the road, I know because I've been to 29 of them, and they yell things out like Jets sucks, sucks, sucks. I'm tired of hearing that kind of thing. I get it. But this is a brand new business that has started. The New York Jets are starting over from scratch with Joe Douglas. His guy is Adam Gase. Adam Gase actually helped get him hired for the job. Adam Gase isn't going anywhere this year, and I don't believe he's going anywhere next year. The idea is to build this team. What Joe Douglas tried to do was build the front line, build in the trenches, brought in, basically hit the bargain bin to try to bring in some of these offensive linemen. And you're like, yeah, and it's not working. Well, keep in mind, our starting offensive line has yet to play together at all this year. Not one time has all 5 of our new starters been on the field together at the same time. You're also talking about a team that hasn't been able to, they didn't have off-season programs, they didn't have the OTAs, they didn't have preseason games, and you're talking about 4 new guys. Alex Lewis was there last year. So you got 4 brand new guys on the offensive line, learning a system they've never learned outside of Alex Lewis, trying to get cohesive during this pandemic, trying to find a way to do that. It's not going to happen. You know, take a look at our schedule. First off, anyone that ever looked at this schedule and thought we were ever going to be better than an 8-18 this year, you know, pass me what you're smoking. I want to smoke some of that. You know, yeah, I want to hail that. I want to get high on whatever you're smoking, because there's no way you could look at the schedule and see that we were going to ever be better than 8-8. And that, in my opinion, is being generous, just thinking that Sam was going to actually elevate himself and the players around him. Now, people are like, Joe Douglas didn't draft any other weapons other than Denzel Mims. I've heard people saying Denzel Mims is a bust. How in the world can you claim someone's a bust if they haven't actually played a down in the NFL yet? Now, if he never plays a down in the NFL, I'll give you the bust. Until then, again, sit back, drink your beer, smoke your herb, and just, you know, quit it. Quit it. Denzel Mims is going to be a gamer. I truly believe this, but he hasn't been on the field yet. The other thing is we brought in Josh Doctson from the Washington Redskins to help Sam out. Another tall, wide receiver that can run on the outside, run outside routes. But guess what? He opted out for COVID. So again, a weapon that Joe Douglas brought in isn't able to hit the field. Brashad Perryman, who's a poor man's Robbie Anderson, has been not healthy, but that's been his problem his entire career. He can't stay healthy, can't stay on the field. So I understand what Joe Douglas is doing, bringing guys that has speed, and hopefully you roll the dice and you get somewhere with these guys and you get to see what they've got. If you look at the contracts that Joe has signed, all of them are basically one and done deals. Get rid of all of them at any time and move forward. So what Joe is doing is trying to build this team from the ground up. It is a brand new business. You don't open up day one with a brand new business and have success. So yes, as Jet fans, we're going to have to take our lumps again. But Joe Douglas helped build 2 teams already, and I believe he's going to be able to do this. That's why I call him Obi-Wan Kenobi, because I think for the first time in many years, actually since Eric Mangini left the team, we have a football guy. We have a football guy running our team. Also heard somebody else said, how about Parcells? Bring Parcells back. Parcells is 237 years old. What, again, are you smoking? Dice up some of those lines. Let me snort some of that, because, oh my God, look, I don't want a guy that's 2 years away from having dementia running our organization. We've got that from the top up. Those guys, we know they're not brilliant football guys. So, no, stop it with the Bill Parcells. Was he great? Yes. Did he try to set us up? Yes. Did Bill Belichick screw us? Yes. And you know what? To hell with Bill Belichick. don't like him, don't want him anywhere around. He is the evil emperor, in my opinion. He is, as far as Jedi Knights is concerned, he is the evil emperor of the National Football League. Can't stand him. Got to respect him because he's got a lot of games. But Bill Parcells is never going to come back here. Okay? Not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Rex Ryan, not going to happen. So get over it. Stop thinking that these guys are going to coach the team. Adam Gase is going to coach us for the rest of this year, and he's going to coach us for the rest of 2021. That's why Joe Douglas signed a 6-year contract, because he knew that John Isnick and Mike Maccagnan put us so far behind from the rest of the NFL, it was going to take 6 years to build this team back up. So just going to have to be patient, Jet fans. And I know we've been patient for a long time. You know, a decade ago, 10 years ago, and 11 years ago, we had back-to-back AFC championship games and just fell short. Sometimes that's what you get. That's what happens. The Cleveland Browns, for the first time in, forever? Since like 1950 something? When was the last time Cleveland Browns were relevant? They haven't been relevant for years because of poor choices and bad GMs and things like that. Hopefully, we've been able to put a tourniquet on this bleeding of the New York Jet fans with Joe Douglas, and he can take this team and move it forward in the right direction. So just don't expect Adam Gase to go anywhere. I think Adam Gase, believe it or not, I'm one of the guys that think Adam Gase might be able to do something. You know, the last game I saw the Jets play last week, most of the play calling was okay. I thought the play calling was pretty good. I gave him about a B+ on the play calling. But when you don't have the weapons to execute the plans, what can you do? You got guys that just can't execute and play at the level that I think Adam Gase's system is designed for. Now, should he have kicked the field goal on fourth and one? Yeah, he probably should have kicked the field goal on 4th and 1. But how many times have we seen coaches make decisions like that? They kick the field goal and they make it great. If he makes the 4th down, you're like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what Adam Gase needs to do, take risk. But because he didn't take the risk, everybody's like, oh, Adam Gase and, just forget it. Look, you got to have players, like Jamal Adams said last year. You got to have dogs in the fight, man. We don't have dogs in the fight. All right, let's take a second and talk about Jamal Adams, the trade of Jamal Adams. Huge fan of Jamal Adams, big time fan of Jamal Adams. Loved the draft when we drafted him. It was the most excited I've been about a draft since Darrelle Revis. I remember when we drafted Darrelle Revis, I remember looking at the screen because we traded up, and I actually said out loud, I said, if we do not take Darrelle Revis with this pick, I think I'm done with the New York Jets. And we took Darrelle Revis. Well, when the Jets were on the clock for the draft and Jamal Adams was still on the board, I was screaming at the TV, if you don't take Jamal Adams, I'm done. And sure enough, they took Jamal Adams. Got the great pleasure of meeting Jamal Adams his rookie year at training camp. One of the things I loved about him, me and my family got there early to watch training camp. Jamal Adams was the first one onto the practice field and the last one off the practice field. He was also the last one standing selling autographs. It happened to be my birthday week. I had a Jamal Adams jersey, which is in my man cave. We'll do a whole segment on my man cave later on. Jamal is down signing in the kids section, which is where I think most of these players should spend the majority of their time, is down making an impact and a positive impression on the kids. So his handler, his agent, his manager, one of the team trainers, I don't know, would come over and said, Jamal, we got to go. We got to go to the locker room. He goes, hang on. And he looked down the line, and I'm holding my jersey down. I'm holding my jersey like, Jamal, it's my birthday. It's my birthday, Jamal. It's my birthday. And Jamal noticed, he goes, hey, is it your birthday, man? I'm like, yeah, Jamal, it's my birthday. He goes, hey, it's my birthday too. And I was like, really? It's your birthday? And he goes, no, I'm just messing with you, man. He continued to sign autographs down with the other kids. Well, once again, the trainer came up and said, Jamal, we've got to go. We got to take off. We've got to Well, we got to get back in the locker room. And Jamal goes, hang on one more second. He signed like 2 more kids' autographs, then ran 25 yards down to my jersey, signed my jersey, and ran off into the locker room. And I thought, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of player you want on a team. That is a generational talent. He bangs around, takes care of business. Don't really hear a bad thing about him on or off the field other than the fact that he is a gamer. Now, with that said, we traded him. Why? Because strong safety is a luxury in the NFL. And at the state of where our team is, and yes, we've been in this state before, you do not pay a strong safety bukus of dollars when you've got a salary cap that's going to be lowered thanks to COVID. You've got a quarterback coming into his 5th year, knowing that you're going to have to pay him money, quite possibly, especially if he excels the way you're hoping and expecting him to excel in this year. So what do? We trade him to the Seattle Seahawks. And what did we do? We straight up raped the Seattle Seahawks. 2 first-round picks and the other picks, and we got a starting caliber, certainly not the same kind of player as Jamal Adams and McDougal, but to me, that exercise, the fact that why I believe that Joe Douglas is the Joby one. I believe he's got a clear path to how to build this team. That's what you do, is stack, get rid of some players. Sometimes you got to cut bail with some of these players and get some draft capital. Case in point, look at the Miami Dolphins. Okay, they traded away a bunch of players, and where are they at right now? They're starting to make progress. Yeah, they're only 2-3, but you know what? They've been competitive in every single game. And that's what us Jets fans want. We want competitive football. We haven't been getting it. But again, this becomes a brand new business. I know the Jets have been around forever, but it's a brand new business. The Jets have got to start from ground up. You've got to strip it down, break it down. So did it hurt my feelings to lose Jamal Adams? Absolutely. Absolutely. But we couldn't pay him $17, $18, $20 million a year to play strong safety when we have so many other places we need to be spending money on. We still need more guys on the offensive line. We still need guys in the secondary. We need a pass rusher, because we have for 127 years. There's other places that money needs to be spent. So instead, what we get is extra draft capital. Now, of course, based on the way the Seattle Seahawks are playing this year, it's a high probability that extra first-round pick we've got is basically going to be a high second-round pick. But even still, it allows us to get a good quality player into this team. It allows us to get 2 players for the price of 1 player. Hopefully it'll work out. People are talking about Joe Douglas's draft. They're not happy with his draft. Sorry guys. Mekhi Becton, best left tackle in the draft, and he's proven. He's balling out. Did you guys see him? He pancaked Nick Bosa in week 2. Pancaked him. Not once, but twice. Flattened him on his ass. That's what happened. Mount Becton is for real. Or you can say just, Highway 77, because number 77, Mekhi Becton, a beast, best pick. There was nobody else to take in that situation. Not CeeDee Lamb, not Jerry Jeudy, not Henry Ruggs, none of them. You've got to be able to protect your man throwing the ball before you can have guys to throw the ball to. Because if you don't have time to throw the ball, it doesn't matter who you've got out there. You can have Jerry Rice. You can have you can have Moss. You can have Randy Moss. You can have any of these guys. Julio Jones, Michael Irvin. Any of these wide receivers. They're great. They're great wide receivers. But how good are they going to be running these great, fantastic routes when the quarterback has basically a 1.8 seconds to drop back in the pass? Yeah. That's what Darnold's getting. He's getting roughly about 2 seconds, less than 2 seconds to read the field and figure out who's open. Is he going to make a few mistakes because he's still young? Absolutely. Sam Darnold's going to be okay. But it's going to be interesting what the Jets do this year. It's going to be interesting what the Jets do coming out of this season. I do believe if we have the number 1 pick in the draft, I do believe there's a high probability they're going to try to trade Sam Darnold. Don't know that I agree with it. Do I like Trevor Lawrence? Do I think Trevor Lawrence is a generational talent? Yeah, I do. I've heard some people say that he's the highest touted quarterback coming out of the draft since Andrew Luck. And that's great. Love to have that type of player on our team. I think we've got a good one. I think we've got a gamer in Sam Darnold. But again, can't do anything if you can't stay upright in the pocket. We still need some help on the offensive line, and we still need some weapons. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the state of our beloved New York Jets. We are a new business, restarting out, and it's going to be built up from the ground up. There's nowhere to go. So, well, let's look at the rest of the draft. Like I said, Mekhi Becton, then Denzel Mims, who's had some hamstring issues, and hamstrings are tricky injuries. If you rush a player back too soon, it becomes a nagging injury, and he never gets to play at full speed on the field. So, I'm okay with the Jets not rushing Denzel Mims back in. I say take a little more time. Let him be healthy when he hits the field. Ashton Davis, he's contributed a little bit on special teams and a little bit in the secondary. I think we're going to see a little bit more of him. Captain Morgan, old James Morgan, quarterback. Listen, one thing, Parcells used to say is you can never have too many quarterbacks. Draft a quarterback every year. That's what Parcells used to say, was draft a quarterback every year. So the Jets draft a quarterback this year, and half our fan base is like, what are we doing drafting a quarterback? Well, no. It's good to have a backup. It's good to have somebody. Tom Brady was drafted, 196 overall? It was a year he drafted. You know who the Patriots had? You know who he had? They had Drew Bledsoe. Who in the world thought that Mo Lewis was going to knock Drew Bledsoe off? And then this young kid out of Michigan, Tom Brady's going to come in and basically become the GOAT. Whoever thought that? Now, I'm not saying James Morgan's going to be Tom Brady. But all these people are saying, what are we drafting a quarterback for? What are we drafting a quarterback for? Because you should draft a quarterback every year. You never know what's going to happen. Some of these guys are gamers. Some of them just don't play well in college. Some people have their best careers after college. Give the guy a break. He's not bad. He's got the build you want. 6'3", 225 pounds. Big fella. Throw the ball. He's got an arm on him. Got a cannon. Did he play in a simplified system in college? Absolutely he did. But don't be ragging that we drafted a quarterback. Stop it. It's ridiculous. Zuniga, he's supposed to be that outside rusher that we've been looking for. Again, having little problems with injuries. Again, don't rush these young kids back in. Don't rush them in. This is a bust year. This is a trial and error year. This is to find out who wants to play football. Let's find out where we're going to get to. So Zuniga coming on the field. It's a fine draft. Obviously, we drafted the best punter. So when looking for positive things about the Jets, I can say, hey, we got a hell of a punter. That dude can kick. Check out his leg. That's the kind of things I was cheering for. It's like, oh, we're punting? Booyah. Get to see something positive. Let's do this. Let's pin him back in the 10-yard line. Booyah. Way to punt. I'm okay with man. He's my man. And then our kicker. We didn't draft the kicker. We didn't draft a kicker. But how can you not like Sam Ficken? First off, great name. He's Ficken to kick. He's Ficken to kick. He Ficken made that. How many plays on words can you have with the last name Ficken? It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Love it. Love it. We also, who was the guy we drafted? The other offensive lineman. And that's the thing. Is people saying Joe Douglas hasn't done anything. He drafted 2 offensive linemen. He drafted a wide receiver. He drafted this in the secondary. He drafted in the kicking department. Joe's done what he's supposed to do. He's building this team from the ground up. So anyhow, we're owing, I don't know, owing everything. Because of the change of schedule, we're playing the Miami Dolphins, and I'm going to tell you right now, that is actually the only game on the schedule I think we have an outside chance of winning. Dolphins coming from the West Coast, coming back from the West Coast. They just beat up a San Francisco 49ers team. They are excited. They are proud of themselves. They are loving themselves, and they're looking at the New York Jets as the laughingstock clown show they are, and going, we're going to crush the New York Jets. Well, if you know anything about New York Jet football and the rivalry that is the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets, you got to know that those two teams always play each other tight. So you heard it here first on Jedi Nights. New York Jets beat the Miami Dolphins 17-16. That's going to be my prediction. 17-16 in Miami this week. I am Chris Wiles. Thank you for watching the first episode of Jedi Nights. You guys have been great. I hope you enjoyed my show, and I hope you tune in for more episodes. The production will go up as we figure out what we're doing here, and hopefully I'll be a little bit funnier as I figure out more of what I'm doing here. You guys have been great. Jets, 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 Jets. Boom!